Universal Audio is known for making some of the best audio plugins ever, and they also make some of the best audio interfaces ever. Now they're making microphones. 3 for 3? These are Universal Audio's SP1 condenser microphones. Let's start by hearing how they sound. These microphones are brand new. They just came out at the end of the summer, and Universal Audio has released 5 new microphones this year. It's actually a pretty impressive lineup, and if they're anything like this, I'm really anxious to try the rest of the lineup. Okay, some of the key points. They come in at $399, which kind of puts them at the lower middle range of the pencil condenser market. And the second thing is that these are a matched pair of microphones. Now that's different from like a stereo pair or a microphone bundle where it includes 2. A matched pair means that they're actually matched based on their sonic characteristics. So a matched pair means they've actually documented the response curve of each microphone, and then they pair them based on their sonic characteristics. So this wouldn't be hugely necessary for things like sound effects recording, but for studio applications and for musicians, you're gonna wanna make sure not only do both microphones sound similar if you take them out of the box and use one at a time, but of course, if you're miking these in a stereo configuration, you wanna make sure that you have a very consistent transition through your stereo space. So the next key takeaway is the sensitivity of these mics. Now, if we're looking at the sensitivity range, dynamic microphones tend to sit around like -60 decibels. Really sensitive field recording microphones tend to sit around -30 decibels. These sit at -38. So just down from the high end. I wouldn't call them like ultra sensitive, I'd call them high sensitivity. They'll be good for any of your nuanced music recordings, drum overheads, snare bottom, acoustic guitar with lots of detail, grand piano, even quieter things like violin or ukulele, anything like that. If you're looking to record sound effects or any field recording like wind blowing through trees, really sensitive stuff like that, you might want something a little bit more sensitive than this microphone. Let me show you why. Okay, so I got the file open here in Isotope, and you can see a little bit more information about this. So the left channel here is the SP1, and the right channel here is the NTG3. And now the NTG3 is advertised to be 8 decibels more sensitive than the SP1. So let's take this section where I'm recording just the watch here. And keep in mind, this watch is really quiet. So this is a pretty good test of the noise. And so you can see here in the waveform stats, the left side being the SP1, -45, and the Rode NTG3 on the right at -39. You can see that it is actually about 7 decibels louder than the SP1 when they're set at the exact same input gain. Now this is important because input gain can get noisy on different interfaces. So that's actually great that it's at the same gain, it's able to pick up that much more. Now let's take a look at the total RMS here. You can see -60 and -56. So we're seeing almost the exact same result. So let's go ahead and take one of these channels here, and we're gonna normalize this to -6. And then we're gonna grab this one here, the second channel, and we're gonna normalize this one as well. And I'm doing these independently so that I know that both are actually hitting -6 and they're not being brought up together until one of them hits -6. So now that I've got this completely normalized, let's take a section of the noise here. So between the clicks, we know our clicks are at -6. We're gonna take the noise and compare them. And if you look, the SP1 is only about a half a decibel louder than the NTG3 when they're normalized. And total RMS, yeah, they're about a half a decibel off. So it's just about as quiet as the NTG3. If we take this whole section now, take a look at that, what we get here. Yeah, the SP1s are a little bit quieter, total RMS. Yeah, so they're really pretty consistent for the noise. And you can see that they're made up quite differently. So the noise on the SP1s is all low-end noise. So for recording this watch, that's actually a great microphone to use because we can roll off all that low end without losing our signal, whereas the NTG3 has all of this top end noise. You can really hear it if I play it one more time. It'd be very difficult to get rid of that high end noise versus the SP1, sounds like this. The noise is much lower frequencies. We can kind of roll all that off, and then we'll probably get a much better result. Now, that level of noise doesn't really mean much in the music recording space. Even the quietest instruments out there are gonna be plenty loud enough that the noise just will not be an issue with these microphones. I was even able to record this smoldering fire out in the country. I'll show you that recording. I think it sounded pretty great. My next test was to check the RF rejection. So for this test, I used my Studio Bricks isolation room and I recorded 3 different devices. First, my little guy's baby monitor, which runs on the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, no issue there. Then I checked a wireless microphone from Comica, also runs on the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, no issues. And then I used my cell phone streaming content over cellular, and you can see here it's picking up a ton of noise. Now you might say, Randy, don't be such an idiot, don't hold your phone so close to the microphone when you're recording. To that I say, fair point. But if you watch that clip back, you'll notice I'm actually reaching for my phone about 4 feet away when the noise starts to be picked up by the microphone. So this is actually pretty common for small diaphragm condenser microphones, but I figured it's worth sharing. The next key point is the max SPL of these microphones, or how much sound pressure levels these mics can physically handle before they physically bottom out and distort. And it's actually really impressive. So for context, a concert would be like 110 to around 120 decibels. That would be a loud concert. Putting your head beside a jackhammer, that's like 130 decibels. And a literal gun going off beside your head is like 140 decibels. These can pick up to 142 without physically bottoming out. So if you want to record gun sound effects, these might be a great option for you. Which basically means for the music recording, you can't bottom this out. You can put this on a snare drum, you can put it on a kick drum, put it wherever you want. In a studio, you're not gonna be bottoming this thing out, unless you're recording guns in your studio. Don't do that. Okay, let's take a look at what comes in the box. So first up, we've got these little mic foamies to go on top of your microphone, and I'm probably only gonna ever use these just to cover the microphones to keep dust off the capsules when I'm not using them. To be honest, these are completely inadequate for outdoor recording, in my tests at least. I'll show you that campfire clip again, and I'll show you in isotope how much wind noise was distorting this microphone. You can see I've actually gone in and erased a bunch of the wind noise. You'll see all these little cutouts down here. They're on both sides, the left and right channel. This was where wind came in, and it was actually like distorting the microphone. You do have to be mindful if there is distortion in your recording, you have to use a program like this, and it's gonna degrade the audio slightly. So you definitely need some wind protection to avoid this. To do the outdoor recordings, I actually picked up these, which are the Rode WS8s. These barely fit on the microphones, but if you're wondering, do they fit? They do. You really have to crank them in there to get them on, and then they actually leave a little bit of black residue on the microphone. So I'm gonna try to stretch these out with like a set of pliers or something to see if I can make them fit better. The good thing is they stay on. The bad news is they're really, really hard to get on and off, and I worry that I'm either gonna rip this or I'm gonna rip, I don't know, I guess I won't rip the microphone, but it doesn't go on very nicely. Next, we have the stereo bar and the 2 mic clips that comes with it. And now the microphone clips feel good. They feel like pretty standard microphone clips. The stereo bar, however, feels very cheap. It's basically like a little 3D printed piece of plastic. Even the threading on the inside of it is a plastic thread. So be very careful with this. It will strip at some point and you're gonna be really upset and you're gonna have to Gorilla Glue it and it's gonna be awful. So just bear in mind the stereo bar is very cheap. It's nice of them to include it, but it is very cheap. And then finally, we have the microphones themselves. These things are sexy. I love that they went with white microphones. I think they look so good. Yeah, it's a really cool kind of retro looking microphone. The hardware feels great. The little screws in the side feel great. It's got the little, word mark on there. The port feels good. A couple of the XLRs that I was using don't click. Actually, let me show you what I mean. So in my one setup, I have these XLRs and they don't click. They don't give you that tactile clip, they just fall out. I'm not sure if it's the XLRs. So you're watching this test happen in real time here. Take another good XLR with a Neutrik connection. Okay, these click. Yeah, those click. That's a nice click. Okay, let's do a couple more sound tests in a few different spots so you guys can see how you like them. Okay, my final thoughts here. These are definitely a serious bang for the buck. There are a lot of options that are way more expensive than this. Things like Schoeps, Neumann, even some of the SE microphones. Rode has a couple options that are way more expensive than these. At $399 US for a matched pair, it's actually really inexpensive, especially when you consider that these are a really quality, well-built product. Like, I'm really quite impressed with them. Do with that information as you will. I would definitely consider these to be mid-tier. The sound quality I was getting out of them, in my opinion, was great. I don't think it was exceptional, but I think that these will be a really great tool for certain applications. For music applications, I would love to try these on drum overheads. Next chance I have to record drums, I'm definitely gonna try these to see how they sound, and I really wanna try them on a snare bottom as well. I think that they would really pick up that sizzle quite nicely, and with the 142 SPL capabilities, you can put these anywhere on a drum set and they're not gonna clip. So that's nice. And so for the age-old question, should you buy these? I think that you'd be really happy if you did. I think that they're a very fair price. They're great bang for the buck actually. Really, really good build, relatively low noise. They feel nice, they look nice. You can't really go wrong with that. They sound nice. That's kind of all you can ask from a microphone. So I think that they did a good job with this. Sits in a cool spot in the market. I like that it's not like $800 or $900. They're only $399. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. Oh, and one last thing. Fun fact, I actually recorded all of the sound effects that you can hear on my sound effects channel, which I'll link down below. These microphones have recorded all of it so far, and I'm gonna continue to use them to record all of the sound effects on that channel. So if you wanna hear how these do for sound effects recording, that's a good place to go. If you wanna watch some more nerdy microphone reviews, I would click this video right here. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you later.